Thank you, Ms. Jordan. And now we'll have Dr. Buzzard speak.
I'd like to just echo my colleagues and thank you so much for holding these hearings and calling attention to this really urgent problem. The impact of climate change is enormous to the health and livelihood of many Native Americans, but most urgently, as you can see, for those who are living on low-lying islands and coastal communities. In May of 2016, Congressman Grijalva sponsored a forum on confronting the rising tide, the climate refugee crisis. Among those invited to speak at that forum were representatives of the Ile-de-Jean Charles Band of Choctaw, a gentleman from the Arctic Council, and people from the Embassy of the Marshall Islands. My company, Heartlands International, which is a Native American-owned small business, was honored to host our visitors to Washington and provide them with some food and housing. And so we spent a lot of time with them, and they told us that they desperately need an intermediate organization to help them understand the bureaucracy and the way Washington works. These are people who live on disappearing islands. They're not equipped to deal with the intricacies of the federal government or large donors. Even taking a few days off work, since these are mostly maritime people, just taking a day or two off work was a major hit to their income. So they asked if we would form a nonprofit organization that would serve as an intermediary between the groups that you've heard about and others to help them leverage funds, do reporting and accountability, and provide technical assistance for areas where they need it. In response to their request, we created the Institute for Building Resilient Communities for Climate Extremes, or the BRACE Institute, which is a 501c3. Our objective is to provide support and technical services for the relocation of whole communities while keeping their cultural integrity. Initially, BRACE is partnering with the following communities, which are populations of between 200 and 1,000 people that are going to relocate in the next 3 years. Primarily, we're working with the Choctaw and Ile-de-Jean Charles. We hope to be working with the Native Alaskan communities and also with the Quinault. Community relocation is a multi-sectoral problem. All of the communities mentioned have maritime economies, and if they move very far inland, they're going to have to learn new ways of making a living, including fish farming, greenhouse gardening, or other skills. As the educational level of the older members of these communities is marginal, they depend heavily on young people to lead the way. And the groups we've identified are only the beginning. As you've heard, all of the Alaskan coastal communities are going to have to move soon. Estimates that there are already about 14 million climate refugees in the world. And these are people who've moved to new cities or countries as individuals or families because of job loss, famine, and other climate extremes. There's really very limited experience with relocating whole communities. Responding to this urgent need, BRACE works with partners in the business and labor sectors to provide technical assistance and research. We partner with the Labor's International Union of North America on housing construction, and they also do job training skills in the construction trades. We have a partnership with Illinois State University in Normal, Illinois, to provide technical assistance in political, economic, social issues that come up, and also in terms of the documentation of what's working and what's not. BRACE is initially targeting these low-lying islands in the U.S., but we're learning from the Marshall Islanders who have moved to Springdale, Arkansas, as some of the health, so we understand some of the health and other issues that climate refugees face. Many of the Pacific Islands will be disappearing before long. We employ a classic community development approach within each community, which includes highly participatory methodology. of helping people make decisions for themselves and building the capacity of communities to make their own decisions. We place emphasis on building leadership skills of young community members and women. And our multidisciplinary approach fosters a better understanding of the issues in both the origin and the destination communities, because with community relocation, you need to think not only about where they live now, but where they're moving to and what effect that's going to have on the destination communities. There are dozens of organizations working to mitigate climate change and postpone relocation by building seawalls or houses on stilts. All of these efforts are welcome, but they're short-term and often very costly. BRACE is the only organization that works with communities on total relocation and on the design of new green communities and with the assistance of learning new job skills. The main issues we're encountering on startup, of course, are funds, not only for BRACE as an institution, but to the construction of new communities. As you've heard...
Dr. Buzzard, please, can we come to a summary?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, we're grateful to be here and happy to answer your questions.